Test, 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 test. while the Buccaneers lost earlier today to the Lightning 1-5. Batting first, an 0-2 count on D'Alessandro. Still a 2. With the first hit of the game, Jack Clark. Called strike one on Pip Small. And Jack Clark's gonna go. Strike number 3. Next up is Manuel Sofrain. Still on second base. Strike 1. That'll be fouled off by Sofrain. From Andrew Brown at third. And Jack Clark is on third base. Runner on third. Two and 2 count now on Sofrain. That'll be called another ball. Now a full 3-2 count.
Number 18 from Seton Hall University, Joey Calabretti.
Joey Calabretti. Strike number 1, swinging. And that'll be called a ball. That one inside, but called strike number 2. Strike number 3, Matt Leakus retires the Blazers, and we'll be right back. Your game of the week broadcast between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. Buccaneers is Luke Russo. And Russo will bunt, throwing it to his first baseman, Manuel Sofrain. Next up at the plate is Blake. That'll be called strike number. and Bone will hit it, but it'll be an easy play.
Number 36, Sebastian
Next up at the plate for the
Jimenez.
Bucks is Sebastian Jimenez. Strike number 1, now a 2-1 count. Strike number 2, 2-2 count with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. That'll be called strike number 3. Skylar Gonzalez retires the Bucks. We'll be right back. And we are back with the game of the week between the. It is still 0-0. We're now in the. Matt Leakus is still pitching for the Bucks. Is now 1-2. Cerna goes swinging. Strikeout of the game so far. Next up at the. That'll be a double for Blake Pitts.
Number 2 from
Next up
Stetson
at the
University.
plate so far, Blake Pitts on second base. Blake Pitts looking like he wants to steal. Matt Leakus keeping a close eye on him. That'll be. Yes, he is safe at third. A 1-2 count. Strike number 3 for Jacome. We have Jason Albert. Blake Pitts is on third base, and we have 2 outs in the top of the second. Jason. And he'll hit that one past the shortstop, and Blake Pitts will score. Albert will make it safe.
Number 36.
That'll be called a strike. For the shortstop, Franklin. And the Blazers lead 1-0. Hello and welcome back to the Game of the Week broadcast between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. We are now in the bottom of the second inning. The Blazers, and he'll hit that straight to the shortstop, Jacome, and that is an easy play. Out number 1.
Number 8. From Lehigh
Next up at the
University,
plate, we have
Cochran.
Ryan Cochran. That'll be ball number 1. For the second out of the bottom of the second inning.
Number 31 from Concord University, Mike DuPont.
Next up at the plate, we have Mike DuPont. 2 outs in the inning. And that'll be called a ball. Mike DuPont hits it hard. Now a 1-1 count. Another foul. 1-2 count now, 2 outs. And that'll be high, called ball number 2, 2-2 count now. And that'll be called strike number 3. That is it for the bottom of the second. The Blazers still lead 1-0, and we will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Ball number 1 is called. Swinging, going foul. The count now 1-1. Too high. Ball number 2 called. 2-1 count. And that'll be hit far into outfield, but under it is Hunter on the Bucks. That'll be out number 1 in the top of the 3rd inning.
Number 8 from Florida Atlantic University.
Next up
Jack
at the
Clark.
plate, we have Jack Clark. He has already had a hit today. And there it goes, straight to right field, and he'll make it easily to first base. 2-2 for Jack Clark today.
Number 29 from Mississippi State University, Pip Smalley.
Next up at the plate, we have Pip Smalley. 1 out in the top of the 3rd inning. Shortstop, but Franklin can't get his hands on it. Players at first and second are safe.
Number 32 from Bethune-Cookman.
Well, Sofrain, with runners on first and second. Still only 1 out in the top of the 3rd inning. And that'll be fouled in front, kind of a funky play there. Strike. And players are going, but that'll be a pop. That'll be foul ball number 2. 0 balls and 2, still only 1 out. Runner on second base stays there. And that'll be called strike number 3. Now 2 outs in the top of the 3rd. Still runners on first and second. And that'll bring up Joey Calabretti. And that'll be ball number 1 on Calabretti. 1-0 count now, 2 outs, and the top of the 3rd inning. Blazers still lead 1-0. And that'll be strike 1 called. 1-1 count. Jack Clark going. Will he be there in time? Nope. Called out number 3. A big thank you goes out to the Sonesta Select of Boca Raton, one of the wonderful facilities housing our players and staff this season. Located at 2000 Northwest Executive Center Circle in Boca Raton, right off of I-95. You can feel at home in any of their spacious rooms and suites. If you're in town and need to get business done, take advantage of their versatile meeting space of over 1,200 square feet. The Sonesta Select of Boca Raton has a well-equipped fitness center and a heated pool. That's the Sonesta Select of Boca Raton, right off of I-95 in Boca. And we are back with your Game of the Week broadcast. That'll be out. Number 1 called. That was Landon Franklin up at bat. The Blazers still lead 1-0 over the Bucks.
Number 4 from New Jersey.
Next up at the plate, we have Cade Laidhoff.
Let's hope Cade can get the hit here so we can get a 1-1 game here.
Yes.
You're doing a fantastic job tonight, Hannah.
Thank you. The count is now 1-0 on Laidhoff. And there is 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That'll be called strike number 1, 1-1 count now. And that'll be hit hard up the middle. And Laidhoff will make it easily to first base.
Number 27.
Next up at the plate, we
State
have
University.
Isaac Geller.
Isaac Geller.
Laidhoff on first. Let's see if Geller can
Running
get
to the
something
catcher
going
at
here for
first
the
base,
Bucks.
Number 7, J.R. Bozak. Fairleigh Dickinson
1 out in the
University.
inning.
Coming up to the plate, number
The count now 1-1. And he's going to second. Will he be safe? Yes, he'll be safe at second. That was Cade Laidhoff with the steal. Isaac Geller still at the plate. He is the Bucks' extra hitter today. And it looks like Cerna is going to have a chat with Skylar Gonzalez. J.R. Bozic is on second, courtesy running for Cade Laidhoff. And that'll be called strike number 3 on Isaac Geller, which brings up
number
M.J.
3 from
Hunter for the
Concord
Bucks.
University, M.J. Hunter.
Now 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. We have Bozek on second base. And M.J. Hunter will hit it into right field, but an easy catch for Clark on the Blazers. It is still 1-0 Blazers in the bottom of the third. We will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. And we are back with the South Florida Collegiate Baseball League Game of the Week broadcast. This matchup features the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers lead 1-0 in the top of the fourth. Up at the plate, we have Joey Calabretti. Now 2 strikes on Calabretti. He has already had a strikeout today. And that'll be called strike number 3. 1, 2, 3.
Number 14.
That'll bring up Mateo Cerna. Cerna also had a strikeout today. And that'll be ball number 1 called. 1-0 count now with 1 out in the top of the 4th inning. It's now a 2-0 count. And that'll be strike number 1 called on Cerna. 2-1 count now. Another ball called. 3-1. And that'll be inside for ball number 4, and Cerna will take first base.
Number 11 from the University of
That brings up
San Francisco,
Blake Pitts next at the plate for the Blazers. 1 out in the inning. Blake Pitts will foul it off. That'll be strike number 1. 0-1 count now. That'll be called strike number 2 on Pitts. Cerna on first. Cerna's going. And Pitts fouls it off, sending Cerna back to first base. Still an 0-2 count for Pitts. And that'll hit Pitts, and he'll get an automatic first base.
From Stetson University, number 2, Carlos Chacon.
And Braden Macklin is courtesy running now for Mateo Cerna. He is on second base, and Blake Pitts is on first.
Courtesy runner at first base, number 30, Braden Macklin, Baton Rouge Community College.
And players are going to steal, and they will be safe on second and third. Carlos Jacome up at the plate. And that'll get past the pitcher laid off, and that will score one. 2-0 Blazers now. And Blake Pitts will make it to third. And that goes bouncing. Making a nice play is Franklin from the Bucks. That'll be the second out, but still scoring one. Now 3-0 Blazers.
Number 12 from Vanderbilt University, Jason Albert.
And that will bring up Jason Albert with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. And that one will go bouncing to Matt Lekas, and he will run and make it an easy third out. The Blazers now lead 3-0 after the top of the 4th inning. A big thank you goes out to Geller Roofing, a supporter of the 2023 South Florida Collegiate Baseball League season. Geller Roofing's mission is to help people who have suffered damage to their roofs and homes. This includes fire damage, hail damage, hurricane damage, tornado damage, and more. Geller Roofing has a team of experts that offer a wide selection of roofing solutions for commercial and residential needs. Using only the best materials, Geller Roofing services all of Florida. For more information, visit gellerroofing.com. Geller Roofing, spelled G-E-L-L-E-R roofing.com. We will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Hello and welcome back to your Game of the Week broadcast. The matchup is between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers currently lead in the bottom of the fourth inning 3-0. We are at the top of the order for the Bucs with Luke Russo up at the plate. And that'll be fouled off by Russo, strike number 1. That'll be called strike number 2 on Russo. And he'll hit that one straight up the middle, and he'll easily make it to first base. That went right by the pitcher, Skylar Gonzalez.
From the University of Kentucky, number 11, Blake.
That'll bring up Blake Bowen to the plate. Bowen will take a ball there. 1-0 count. Still no outs. And Russo is on first. That'll be called strike number 1. 1-1 count now. Runner on first in the top or the bottom of the fourth. That'll get by the catcher, and Russo will make it to second easily. The count is now 2-1 on Blake Bowen. Runner in scoring position. And he'll foul that one high and long. Two and two count now. Still no outs. Runner on second. And he'll hit that one long, but it will be too short. Tagging up is Russo, and he makes it easily to third. Jack Clark with the catch in right field for the Blazers.
Number 36, from Florida State University, Sebastian Jimenez.
The DH is up next, Sebastian Jimenez. runner on third. That is Luke Russo on third. That'll be strike number 1 called. Oh and 1 count. Jimenez hits that one still in the infield, and that'll be an easy catch for Blazers Jacome. That'll bring us to 2 outs now. Luke Russo still on third base, and that will bring up Andrew Brown for the Bucks. And that'll be called strike number 1, 0 and 1 count, 2 outs, runner on third base in the bottom of the 4th inning. Fouling it off is Andrew Brown. That'll be 2 strikes now on Brown, 0 and 2 count. And that'll be swinging, but that'll be strike number 3 and out number 3 for the bottom of the 4th inning, leaving Luke Russo on third. We will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast featuring the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. Hello and welcome back to the Game of the Week broadcast featuring the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers lead the Bucks 3-0 in the top of the 5th, and Drew Repepe for the Blazers is up at the plate. We also have a new pitcher in for the Bucks, Joey Kraska. And that will hit Repepe, and he will walk to first base.
Number 4 from Fairleigh Dickinson University.
At the top of the order for the Blazers, we have Max D'Alessandro up at the plate. D'Alessandro will hit it deep, and he'll find a gap. Repepi will make it all the way to third, and sliding in is D'Alessandro for a double. The Blazers now have runners on second and third, and Jack Clark will be up next. He is 2-2 today.
University, Jack Clark.
He's had 2 singles today so far. Let's see if he can keep up the momentum. Clark will foul that one off. 0-1 count. Still no outs in the top of the 5th. And that will hit Jack Clark too. He will get an automatic first base, and the bases are now loaded for the Blazers.
Coming up to the plate, number 29 from Mississippi
And that will
State
bring up
University,
Pip Smalley for the
Smalley.
Blazers. Leadoff going to have a little chat with Joey Kraska. That'll be called strike number 1. Still no outs. Bases loaded for the Blazers in the top of the 5th inning. And that'll be called strike number 2. 0-2 count. And that'll be 1, 2, 3, strike out for Pip Smalley. That'll bring up Manuel Sofrain for the Blazers. Bases still loaded with just 1 out now.
University, Manuel Sofrain.
That'll be strike number 1. One and 1 count now. 1 out. Bases loaded. Manuel Sofrain will foul that one off. Now a 1-2 count with 1 out in the top of the 5th. Blazers lead 3-0. The bases are loaded currently, and let's see if they can add to their score. And that'll be called ball number 2. 2-2 count now. 1 out. And Manuel Sofrain will hit that one high and deep, but making it an easy catch is Hunter for the Bucks. That'll still score 1 for the Blazers. Now the Blazers lead 4-0.
From Seton Hall University, number 18, Joey Calabretti.
That brings up Joey Calabretti for the Blazers. That'll be called ball number 1. 1-0 count with 2 outs. And that hits Joey Calabretti, and he will walk to first base. And the bases will be loaded once again.
Number 14 from the University of Memphis, Mateo Cerna.
And up at the plate with the bases loaded, we'll have Mateo Cerna. 2 outs now in the top of the 5th inning. The Blazers lead 4-0 now. Swinging is Cerna. That'll be a 1-1 count, I believe. And Cerna hits it high, and under it is third baseman for the Bucks, Brown, and that will get us out of the top of the 5th inning. Only 1 scored. The Blazers now lead 4-0. We will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. And we are back with your Game of the Week broadcast. This is between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers lead 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. And it'll bring up Ryan Cochran for the Bucks. That'll be called strike number 1. Fouling it off right behind us. Now a 0-2 count. And Cochran will make contact, but it'll be an easy catch for the catcher, Cerna. That'll bring us to out number 1.
Number 31.
And that will bring up Mike DuPont for the Bucks. 1 out now in the bottom of the 5th. Blazers still lead 4-0 after adding another run to their lead last inning. The count now 1-0 on DuPont. That'll be a 1-1 count now. Swinging again, strike number 2 called. 1-2 count on DuPont. 1 out in the inning. And that will trickle to the pitcher Skylar Gonzalez for an easy out number 2.
From the University of Kentucky, number 1, Landon Franklin.
That will bring up Bucks Landon Franklin. That'll be ball number 1 for Franklin. 1-0 count with 2 outs. No one on base. Too low. That'll be called ball number 2. 2-0 count. Fouling it off is Franklin. That'll be a 2-1 count now with 2 outs. That one high, 3-1 now on Franklin. 2 outs still in the bottom of the 5th inning. And that will be ball number 4. Franklin will get first base automatically. That will bring up Cade Laidhoff, the catcher for the Bucks. Cade Laidhoff with a single already today. Let's see if he can get some momentum here. That one low. That'll be called ball number 2. 2-0 count now on Laidhoff with 2 outs and Franklin on first. That one called ball number 3. 3-0 count now. And Cerna will go have a chat with Skylar Gonzalez after walking 1 and then throwing 3 balls. Laidhoff still up at the plate. 3-0 count with 2 outs and a runner on first. And that'll be ball number 4. Back-to-back walks for Skylar Gonzalez. We now have Bucks players on first and second. And that will bring up Isaac Geller for the Bucks, the extra hitter. And it looks like Coach is going to have a chat with Skylar Gonzalez and we'll probably get a new pitcher. So we will be right back. And we are right back. Skylar Gonzalez still pitching for the Blazers. We have courtesy runner on first, Bozak. And Isaac Geller up at the plate, the extra hitter for the Bucks. 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. The Blazers still lead the Bucks 4-0. We have runners on first and second. That one too high. That'll be a 1-1 count now. Strike 2 called, 1-2 count now. 2 outs, runners on first and second. Fouling it off is Geller, still 1-2 count. And that'll be strike number 3, and that will get us out of the bottom of the 5th inning. The Blazers still leading the Bucks 4-0. Did you know all South Florida Collegiate Baseball League games can be followed pitch by pitch on Point Streak? Download the Point Streak app on your iPhone or Android device and follow your favorite team for pitch by pitch updates and live stats. As a matter of fact, you should do this while you're watching the game to see the stats and information that I have available to me while broadcasting these games. To see how Point Streak can help your league, team, or sports organization, visit pointstreak.com. And we will be right back for the top of the 6th inning for the game of the week. And we are back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Blake Pitts now up at the plate. The Blazers still lead the Bucks 4-0 in the top of the 6th. That called a strike. The count now 2-1 on Pitts. Blake Pitts will hit that one high. And making the catch is the second baseman for the Bucks, Gribbon. That'll be out number 1 in the top of the 6th.
Number 2, Carlos Jacome from Stetson University.
Carlos Jacome now up at the plate for the Blazers. That'll be called ball number 1, 1-0 count. Ball number 2 called 2-0 count with 1 out. Three and 0 count now. And that will be a walk to first.
Number 12 from Vanderbilt University.
for Jacome.
Jason
And that'll
Albert.
bring up Jason Albert to the plate for the Blazers. Jacome looking like he wants to steal second. Joey Kraska making sure that Carlos Jacome stays on first base. Albert still at the plate for the Blazers. Joey Kraska checking on him again. Carlos Jacome is going to go. And will he be there in time? He will be safe at second. The count 1-1 now. Albert will
Heads up.
foul that one off. 1-2 count now. That'll be called strike number 3 on Albert. Jacome still on second base, and that will bring up Drew Repepe for the Blazers.
Number 36, University of Pittsburgh. Drew Repepe.
That'll be called ball number 1 on Repepe. 1-0 count now. Strike number 1 called 1-1 count. Jacome getting chased back to second base. Two and 0 count still for Repepe. That one high, 1-2 now. Two and 1. That'll be called ball number 3. 3-1 count now with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. Drew Repepe at the plate. Carlos Jacome on second. Repepe will foul that one off. Now a full count, 3-2 with 2 outs, a runner in scoring position. And that will be called strike number 3 and out number 3 for the Blazers. That will bring us to the bottom of the 6th, and we will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. We are
Number
back
3
with
from
your
Concord
Game of the Week
University.
broadcast featuring the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers lead the Bucks 4-0 in the bottom of the 6th, and MJ Hunter is up for the Bucks. Skylar Gonzalez still pitching for the Blazers. That'll be called ball number 1, 1-0 count. Strike 1 called, 1-1 count now. And Hunter will hit that one out, and running to it is the right fielder, Clark. But it bounces, and Hunter will be safe at first.
From Fairleigh Dickinson University, number 13, Luke Russo.
That will bring us back to the top of the order for the Bucks. Luke Russo now up at the plate. No outs and a runner on first. Russo making contact. That one hit high, but an easy play for the first baseman, Sofran, for the Blazers. MJ Hunter still on first base. And that will bring us to Blake Bowen for the Bucks.
Number 11 from the University of Kentucky, Blake Bowen.
Blake Bowen 0-2 on the day today with a ground out and a fly out. Let's see if he can change that up a little bit here. And he makes contact with that, and it hits off the base. Russo will make it to third, and sliding in, but not in time, is Blake Bowen. That one hit off the second base, making it difficult for the shortstop, Jacome, to come up with that ball at first.
Number 36 from Florida State University, Sebastian Jimenez.
That'll bring up Sebastian Jimenez for the Bucks with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Russo is on third. Jimenez also 0-2 on the day with a strikeout and a flyout. He is the DH for the Bucks today. That'll be called strike number 1. Swinging, strike number 2. And he'll make contact with that, but the shortstop, Jacome, will pick it up, and he will be out at first. That will bring us to the top of the 7th inning. We will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Hello and welcome back to your Game of the Week broadcast.
Top of the order,
This
number
game is
4
between
from
the
Fairleigh
Boca
Dickinson
Raton Blazers
University,
and the Boynton
Max
Beach Buccaneers. The
De
Blazers
Alessandro.
currently lead 4-0. We have Max D'Alessandro up at the plate for the Blazers and Nick Galvin on the mound now for the Bucks. D'Alessandro fouls that one off. That'll be called strike number 1. 0-1 count now. That one wide and low. Ball number 1, 1-1 count on D'Alessandro for the Blazers. That one called ball number 2, 2-1 count now for D'Alessandro, the center fielder for the Blazers. D'Alessandro 1 for 3 today with a double. 2-2 count, and that will
Number 8 from the Florida
Nick
Atlantic
Galvin's
University,
first
Jack
strikeout
Clark.
of the game. That will bring out Jack Clark for the Blazers. He is 2 for 2 today and was also... He'll make contact with that, but that will go foul. 0-1 count with 1 out. And that one inside, but called strike. Strike number 2 on Clark. And he'll make contact with that, and sweeping it up is Baseman, who makes a nice play to first for the second out of the inning. That was
Number 29,
Andrew Brown at
Mississippi
third for
State
the Bucks.
University, Pip Smalley.
That brings up Pip Smalley for the Blazers with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. One 1-0 count with 2 outs. With that, and that will go right into center field. Easily making it to first base is Pip Smalley. That was with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Pip Smalley with a single.
Now at the plate, number 32 from Bethune-Cookman.
That'll bring up Blazers
Sofrain.
Manuel Sofrain. Sofrain is the first baseman for the Blazers. That one low, called ball number 1 on Sofrain. 1-0 count with that one called ball number 2. 2-0 count with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning. Manuel Sofrain fouling it off deep. That'll be a 2-1 count now with 2 outs, and Pip Smalley on first. That'll be high. Ball number 3 called. 3-1 count now. players now on first and second. Pip Smalley on second, and Manuel Sofrain will get first. And that will bring up Joey Calabretti is 0-2 on the day and was also hit by a pitch. That one called strike. High, 1-1 count. Two and one count now with 2 outs. Ball right under the hands of the second baseman, Cochran. And that will be the end of the top of the 7th inning. Blazers still lead the Bucks 4-0. Thank you to the Palm Beach County Sports Commission for supporting the South Florida Collegiate Baseball League with world-class playing and training facilities and sports needs. Whether it's your passion or your pastime, discover world-class sports is the perfect place, the Palm Beaches. For information of facilities, grants, memberships, events, and more, visit palmbeachsports.com. And we will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Hello and welcome back to our Game of the Week broadcast. This is the game between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers lead 4-0 in the bottom of the 7th. And Andrew Brown will be up at the plate for the Bucks to start us off here in the bottom of the 7th. And Austin Mastoff will take over on the mound for the Blazers. Brown fouls it off. That'll be strike number 1 called. 0-1 count. That one wide, called ball number 1 on Brown. Now 1-1 count. Brown is 0. That'll also be wide. Ball number 2. 2-1 is the count for Brown. That one called strike number 2. 2-2 count. foul. Still a 2-2 count on Brown. And that one in the dirt, ball number 3. Now a full count for Brown with 0 outs in the bottom of the 7th. And he will make good contact with that, and that will drop in left field, and Brown will make it to second. Nice hit by Brown. Dropped right to the left of the left fielder hits for the Blazers.
Ryan Cochran.
And that will bring up Ryan Cochran for the Bucks. Ryan Cochran also 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a fly out. And he has now 1 strike on him. 0-1 is the count. And that'll be a ball. 1-1 is the count on Cochran with 0 outs. And Andrew Brown on second. Inside, ball number 2 called. 2-1 is the count. And Ryan Cochran flies that one into right field, and Rapepi for the Blazers will make the catch. Andrew Brown still on second base, and that'll bring up Mike DuPont for the Bucks.
Number 31 from Concord University, Mike DuPont.
That one gets away from the catcher, Cerna, and Andrew Brown will make it to third base. Still only 1 out in the bottom of the 7th here. 1 ball now on Mike DuPont. That one low, called ball number 2. 2-0 is the count. That one also too low. 3-0 now. And that'll be called strike number 1. 3-1 count now with 1 out. And Andrew Brown is on third base. And Mike DuPont will just hit that one foul. Now a full count for DuPont with 1 out and a runner on third. He'll make contact with that one, but also fouled off. 3-2 is still the count with 1 out, and Andrew Brown is still on third base. That one also fouled high out of bounds. Still 3-2. That one low for ball number 4, and Mike DuPont will walk to first. We now have runners on the corners for the Bucks, and that will bring up Landon Franklin. Franklin is playing shortstop today for the
From the
Bucks.
University of Kentucky, number 1, Landon Franklin.
Landon Franklin fouls that one off. 0-1 is the count with 1 out and runners on the corners. That one called strike 2 on Franklin. 0-2 is the count. That one low for the first ball on Franklin. 1-2 is the count now with 1 out, runners on first and third. And he'll hit that one just foul of third base to bring him at a 1-2 count. Landon Franklin fouling it off again. One and two is still the count. And that'll be called strike number 3 on Franklin. Now 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Number 4 from
The Bucks
Virginia
are
Tech.
looking to put some points on the board here with runners on the corner. And that'll bring up Cade Ladoff, the catcher for the Bucks. And he will hit that one into right field, but under it, making catch easily, is Clark. And that will conclude the bottom of the 7th inning, with the Blazers still leading the Bucks 4-0. We will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Hello and welcome back to the Game of the Week broadcast between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers still lead the Bucks 4-0 in the top of the 8th inning now. And Mateo Cerna is up at the plate for the Blazers. That'll be called ball number 1 on Cerna. Cerna today with a strikeout, a walk, and a flyout. And he'll make contact with that one, but scooping it up for the Bucks is Cochran, and it slips. Excuse me, that'll be an out.
From the University of San Francisco, number 11.
That'll be out number 1 in the top of the 8th. Blake Pitts now at the plate for the Blazers. Pitts is 1-2 on the day with a double. 1-0 is the count on Pitts. That one gets inside on Pitts, and that'll be ball number 2. 2-0 is the count. That'll be outside ball number 3. 3-0 is the count on Pitts with 1 out in the top of the 8th. And that'll be ball number 4 for Pitts. He will get an automatic first base.
Number 2 from Stetson University.
That'll bring up Carlos Jacome for the Blazers. Jacome fouls that one out of here. The count 0-1 on Jacome. Runner first base with 1 out in the inning. And Blake Pitts will go, and he is safe at second. Jacome still at the plate. 0-1 is still the count with 1 out. Blake Pitts now on second base. 1-1 is the count, excuse me. And Blake Pitts is going to steal third, and he will be safe. Blake Pitts safe at third. The count is 1-1 still for Jacome. 1 out, and Blake Pitts just stole back-to-back bases. Jacome will make contact, and that'll slip right by the short, and that'll score another one for the Blazers. That one getting right by Landon Franklin on the Bucks. The Blazers now lead 5-0 in the top of the 8th inning. And that will bring up Jason Albert for the Blazers. That one inside called ball number 1. 1-0 is the count. Still only 1 out in the top of the 8th inning. Jacome going. Will he make it in time? Sliding in? Yes, he will. That got by the second baseman, Cochran, to make Jacome safe at second. Albert still at the plate. 2-0 is the count. Albert will pop that one up, and underneath it is second baseman Cochran for the Bucks.
Number 36 from the University of Pittsburgh.
And that will bring up Drew Repepe to the plate for the Blazers with 2 outs and a runner on second base. Blazers added 1 more run to their lead during this half inning. And that one high. The catcher laid off way too high for the third baseman, and that'll score another one for the Blazers. Carlos Jacome sliding home to score, making it now 6-0. That one will be called high. 1-1 is the count. That one getting by the catcher Laidhoff. Looked like it hit him in the face mask. 2-1 is the count for Repepe. Repepe is 0-2 on the day with a ground out and a strikeout, and he was also hit by a pitch. And that'll be strike number 2 on Repepe. 2-2 is the count with 2 outs in the top of the 8th. No one on base. That one inside. That'll be a full count, 3-2 with 2 outs. And that'll be strike number 3, retiring Drew Repepe. That'll bring us to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Blazers now lead 6-0, and we will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. Hello and welcome back to your Game of the Week broadcast. This game features the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers are currently leading the Bucks 6-0, and we have Isaac Geller up at the plate. We also have a new pitcher in for the Blazers, Angelo Bartziokis. That one will be wide, bringing it to now a 2-0 count. That one gets by Ladoff. I'm sorry, Cerna for the Blazers, the catcher. That one high and wide. That'll bring up 3 balls, no strikes, 0 outs for Isaac Geller. Isaac Geller is 0-2 on the day with 2 strikeouts. That'll be called a strike. 3-1 is the count. That one wide, and that'll bring 4 balls for Isaac Geller, and he will walk to first. That will bring up MJ Hunter for the Bucks. Hunter is the center fielder today. He is 1-2 on the day with a single. And that one gets by the pitcher, but it will turn into just 1 out, and MJ Hunter will make it to first base. Looked like it would have almost turned into a double play there, but only 1 out now on the Bucks in the bottom of the 8th.
Number 13 from Fairleigh Dickinson University, Luke Russo.
That'll bring up the top of the order for the Bucks, Luke Russo. Luke Russo fouls that one out. That'll be an 0-1 count now with 1 out, and MJ Hunter is on first. That one will be called strike number 2 on Russo. Oh and 2 is the count with 1 out. And he'll foul that one off. Still an 0-2 count with 1 out. And Hunter is on first base. That one inside and high. That'll be the first ball for Russo. 1-2 is the count. And MJ Hunter is going to try to steal second, and will he? Yes, he will. MJ Hunter safe at second. Luke Russo still up at the plate with a 1-2 count and 1 out, and now a player in scoring position. The Bucks still yet to score today. Let's see if they can add 1 to the score. That one high towards Russo's head. That'll be a 3-2 count, full count here with 1 out. That one high, and that will walk Luke Russo to first. And Blake Bowen will be up for the Bucks, the right fielder today. And there's only 1 out in the inning and a player on first and second. The count now 1-0. MJ Hunter is going to go to third, and he is safe at third. Runners now on the corners for the Bucks. And MJ Hunter just 1 base away from being the Bucks' first score of the game. The count now 2-0 for Bowen. That'll be called a strike. 2-1 is the count now with 1 out. And the player at first is going to try to steal second, but he is called out. That was Luke Russo trying to steal second there for the Bucks. MJ Hunter is still on third base, and the count for Blake Bowen is 2-1. 2-2. That one inside. That'll bring up a full count for Bowen. And that one will foul off, and the baseball is actually stuck in the fence. The count's still 3-2 with 2 outs. MJ Hunter still on third base looking to score. Fouling it off again is Bowen. Three and 2 is still the count. And Blake Bowen will hit it in the middle of the right and center fielder, but catching it is the right fielder for the Blazers, Pitts. And that will conclude the bottom of the 8th inning. If you're thinking about coming to the Palm Beaches to catch a game in person soon, you will have no shortage in pre- and post-game dining and entertainment options. A gentler side of Florida awaits you, with cleaner sands, warmer waters, and fewer crowds. Come see where America's first resort destination was built and genuine hospitality began. Come discover a place that surpasses all expectations, awaiting discerning travelers who won't settle for the ordinary. A place different from the rest, waiting just for you. Visit the Palm Beaches today. Go to thepalmbeaches.com for more information on what makes the Palm Beaches the best destination for a day, week, season, or for full-time residency. And we will be right back with your Game of the Week broadcast. The Blazers lead 6-0 still over the Bucks in the bottom of the 8th. Hello and welcome back to your Game of the Week broadcast featuring the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. The Blazers lead the Bucks 6-0 in the top of the ninth, and we will be at the top of the order for the Blazers with Max D'Alessandro at the plate. And that'll be a ground out for D'Alessandro. We'll also have a new pitcher in the game, Ryan Conover.
Number 8 from Florida Atlantic University, Jack Clark.
And that'll bring up Jack Clark for the Blazers with 1 out in the top of the ninth. And that'll be called ball number 1. 1-0 is the count with 1 out. That one called strike. 1-1 is the count. That one popped up by Clark, and the catcher is right under it, laid off for the Bucks. That'll bring us to 2 outs now in the top of the ninth
Number
inning.
29 from Mississippi State University,
Pip Smalley now up at the plate. That'll be called strike 1 on Smalley. Strike 2 called on Smalley. 0-2 with 2 outs now in the top of the ninth. That'll be called ball number 1 on Smalley. 1-2 is the count with 2 outs in the top of the ninth. Ryan Conover is our new pitcher for the Bucks. That one popped up and foul by Smalley. 1-2 is still the count. And that one will be far into right field, but catching it, no catch, foul ball. And Pip Smalley will head back to the plate. 1-2 is still the count. That one called strike number 3, and that will be the end of the top of the ninth. The Blazers still leading the Bucks in our game of the week. We will be right back with your broadcast. Hello and welcome back to your Game of the Week broadcast between the Boca Raton Blazers and the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. We are now in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Blazers still lead 6-0 over the Bucks. Sebastian Jimenez at the plate for the Bucks. He is the DH today. And he will hit that one hard into outfield, and it will drop. Jimenez running to second, and he is going to go to third, and he is told to stop. Nice hit by Sebastian Jimenez there.
From the University of Kentucky, number 11, Blake Bowen. Number 35. From Rutgers University, Andrew Brown.
And that will bring up Andrew Brown for the Bucks, with no outs in the bottom of the 9th. One and 0 is the count with no outs in the bottom of the 9th, and that will come close to Andrew Brown. And that'll be a ball number 2. That one coming up, and that will be ball number 4 for Andrew Brown, and he will walk to first base.
Number 8 from Lehigh University.
And that will bring up
Cochran.
Bucks second baseman Ryan Cochran, who is 0-3 today. The count is 0-1 on Cochran. Cochran fouls that one off to the backstop. That'll be 0-2 now, with no outs and a runner on first. Fouled off again. 0-2 is still the count. No outs, and Andrew Brown, after a walk, is on first. That one high, called ball number 1, 1-2. On Cochran. Looking to get his first hit of the game here. That one inside, called ball number 2. 2-2 is the count. That one inside again, 3-2, full count here with no outs and a runner on first. And it looks like Cerna is going to have a chat with Barquios. Ryan Cochran still at the plate. That one hits Cochran, and he will head to first base. The Bucks now have a runner on first and second, and that will bring up Mike DuPont.
From Concord University, number 31, Mike DuPont.
That one inside, but called strike number 1 on DuPont. 0-1 is the count. Still no outs. Runners on first and second. And third. Bases are loaded. That one wide. 1-1 is the count. And that one is popped up into outfield, tagging and running. And that'll score one. The Bucks are finally on the board. The score is now 6-1 in the bottom of the ninth. And the bases are still loaded. That outfielder for the Blazers, the left fielder for the Blazers pitch, dropped that ball.
Number 1, Landon Franklin, University of Kentucky.
And that will bring up Landon Franklin for the Bucks with the bases loaded and no outs. And that one will drop in front of the left fielder Pitts, and that'll bring another one home for the Bucks. (6-2) Bucks got 2 runs on the board this inning so far with still no outs, and the bases are still loaded.
From New Jersey Tech, number 4, Kate Ladoff.
Cade Ladoff up next for the Bucks at the plate with the bases loaded and no outs. That one inside, called strike 1 on Ladoff. That one high, called ball number 1. 1-1 is the count. And that one staying in bounds, but making a nice play is the third baseman for the Blazers, Pip Smalley. And that'll be out number 1. That'll be 2 outs, a double play for the Blazers. Nice play by Pip Smalley, stopping that ball in front of him.
Number 27 from Alcorn State University.
And that'll score another buck during that play, so it'll be 6-3 now in the bottom of the ninth. And that'll bring Isaac Geller up to the plate. Geller fouls it off. Just a runner on second now. Oh and 1 is the count with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. The Bucks have put 3 runs on the scoreboard during this inning. Geller fouling it off again. 0-2 is the count. Oh and 2, 2 outs. Geller at the plate. And that comes very, very close to Geller. They are debating whether or not it hit him. The umpire says no. 1-2 is the count. And that will be called strike number 3. That concludes our game of the week. The Blazers beat the Bucks 6-3. Thank you for joining our broadcast today.
Blazers win 6-3. We'll be back here
We want to
tomorrow
thank
at 10
all of
o'clock.
our sponsors today.
We got
The
Double
Sonesta
Header,
Select of Boca Raton,
DC
Geller
15,
Roofing,
10 o'clock.
Point Streak Sports, Jed Lawyers,
Thanks for coming
Dr.
out.
G's
Drive
Urgent
home
Care,
safely.
Hara's Pompano Beach, Mudbone Accounting, Loop the App, Hampton Inn of Delray Beach, Atlantis, Bahamas, Visit the Palm Beaches, the Palm Beaches County Sports Commission. Thank you so much for tuning in to our game of the week today, and we will see you next time.